A manager once told me that the cheapest way to own a vehicle was to buy used, a couple years old, with a good warranty and a good brand. And I thought that was true for years. He said it didn't matter if you bought new, it didn't matter if you leased, it didn't matter if you bought used, it didn't matter if you bought a cheap cash car that you owned outright and that you just paid for repairs as they came up. And I always believed that was the way that was the cheapest way to own a vehicle, slightly used with a good warranty and a good brand. I ran the numbers recently and it turns out it's a little bit different than I thought. So obviously leasing a new car every 3 years for 9 years is not the cheapest way to do it. You end up spending closer to $60,000 than you would versus anything else. With getting a new car, for these examples, I used a CRV LX. So for a brand new one, 2026, you're spending about $33,000. You're going to be spending about $60,000 to $50,000. If you buy a slightly used one, I found an example of a 2021 that had about 70,000 miles on it. You're over that 9-year period, you're going to be spending about $63,000 to $65,000. Now, at the last option, buying the cheapest vehicle possible, I picked out a $7,500 2008 150,000 mile CRV, assuming that everything goes well, and that maybe you just have to replace a motor or a transmission or both even. You're going to be spending about $46,000 to $50,000. So when you break it down, $45,000 to $50,000 over a 9-year period on the cheapest option up front isn't that far away from buying a new one and keeping it for 9 years. And buying a slightly used one ends up being the most expensive option of all of them, which that kind of blew my mind. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think buying brand new and keeping it for 9 years is the cheapest option? Buying slightly used and keeping it for 9 years is cheaper? Or maybe just buying a junker and living with it for 9 years? Let me know down in the comments. Like and follow for more car content.